Hello everyone, welcome to mindovermania. My name is Christian and we are recording another Pick a Group reading. It's an intuitive message that I channel and you get to pick what the message is using your own intuition. Today's topic is going to be, what am I projecting onto the situation? We have 3 piles to choose from. In order to select your pile, I'd like you to put both feet firmly on the ground, take a couple deep breaths, and think about the situation on your mind, or maybe this person. Once you have that image in your head, open your eyes and select a pile that you feel most drawn to. Usually your first reaction and instinct is the pile that's for you. The piles that we have available today are the Bierstein for group number 1, the tarot card shot glass, and the Las Vegas shot glass. I just want to say thank you so much for stopping by and supporting my video. Please like, subscribe, and share if you'd like to support my work further. I will see you at your pile. Take care. Hello everyone, you have chosen group number 1 with the Bierstein. And this is going to be your messages on what am I projecting onto the situation. We're going to start off with a 1-card pull to get an idea of what's maybe going on with the situation or what you're doing in general. I can't really get a gauge one way or another, but I do feel this might be this may be in regards to a relationship of some kind. It doesn't necessarily have to be a romantic partner or something, but it does feel like in the context of other people, you do make sudden judgments about people that are they're not your fault, but they do have something to do with your upbringing or the way you go about releasing energy onto other people. Because I was thinking, is this anger? Is this like something positive? I can't really get a gauge either way. But let's take a look at the cards that you got. So we have coming apart upright, and we have balancing act in reverse. So 11 may be relevant to you, and 46. What I'm seeing is the type of person you are. I do feel like there's a little bit of an accountability issue on your part in regards to this situation, either with this person. It feels like with somebody else. I'm looking at the cards here with the girl who, she's got her face kind of covered and is turned away, and then this person's over here. I feel like you guys, group number 1, you're this person over here. Now, to be fair, if you haven't either hurt somebody recently, I do feel this may also represent a part of yourself inside. So only take what resonates, but I do feel like this will still be your pile if you have undergone a similar situation. The purpose of this message and these readings is to help you with working on yourself and doing the shadow work. And so I do feel that regardless if you didn't actually come and hurt another person, this could also represent a way that you have been hurt and how that wound is manifesting towards other people. I do feel like you're projecting something onto another person that, yeah, you're projecting your wounds onto another person. And as a result of that, I feel like you're assuming people will abandon or reject you off the bat, or at least this version of you. So sometimes, for example, with my eyes getting drawn to this girl again on the card, the way her outfit looks, I feel like she seems to be the version of you that you wear on the outside. And that's what other people approve of. But when they get to know you, you're a little bit more like this person. And with her eyes being covered, I feel like you have a hard time, or this version of you has a hard time accepting itself because everybody seems to glorify this version of you when it doesn't seem like a very accurate depiction of who you are. You might also do this to other people where whenever you're reacting to other people who are trying to put on a performance, just right off the bat, everybody, regardless of how successful they are, regardless of how normal a person seems, everybody has to wear a mask when you're meeting them. And it's not until you really get to know somebody that you see underneath that mask. And for some reason, I think that you have a hard time with rejection, or at least believing for some reason that there's something wrong with you for not inherently living up to this mask that people wear, when really everybody's wearing it. You know what I mean? I think that what you're not realizing is a lot of people are more superficial than maybe you are, or you just have a harder time fitting into the performance identity that everyone else has. With the balancing act in reverse, I do feel that part of you being very dysregulated, either on a day-to-day basis or in this relationship with this person, you're struggling to fit in within yourself while interacting with this person. And I think that's where you're having a hard enough time assessing what's even going on, because you're not clear within yourself. With this balancing act, it's like, it's almost like you're hanging on by a thread. I'm seeing like her, once again, it's like hair. I'm seeing like long things of hair. So maybe, for example, you chopped your hair off, or maybe you struggle with keeping a physical appearance that you believe everyone else aspires to have, or what you're supposed to look like. Meanwhile, on the inside, you just want to be loved for who you are. Yeah, again, take what resonates. There's kind of like an interesting energy going on where maybe you guys weren't really sure what this tarot reading was going to be about. Maybe you guys don't really understand the idea of projecting and what that actually means in your psyche. But yeah, this is just kind of the vibe check. Let's go ahead and pull some cards to see what else Spirit has in store for you in regards to projecting. Yeah, so like right off the bat, I feel like the version of you that you sometimes project onto other people has to do with like successes. So say, for example, there's a version of you that would be really, really good at selling markers. Okay, that's so specific. So yeah, because the reason why you'd be really good at selling markers is because you like to color all the time. Or like, for example, you really like pretty things. And so as a result of you just being you, you think that, oh, well, my obsession with coloring or doing pretty things, that doesn't make me successful, right? But the thing is that if you're a marker salesman or a car salesman, while you have different industry standards, you're still a salesperson. You know what I mean? Or at least you can try to fit into what society needs of you in order to make money in return. You know, I do feel like with this group, you have a hard enough time trying to just accept the way society is and live in it. Then on top of it, you're trying to force yourself either to work a 9 to 5 or do something that what everyone's telling you to do, when really you have a skill set that is beautiful for just existing as a human being. You know, like, for example, if you're really great at art, I think because of that self-abandonment is a wound on top of it. Like, you're expecting that the world isn't going your way, or you're just scared that you're not going to be able to take care of yourself because you're an artist inherently, or because there's something different about you. So maybe, for example, you're not an artist, but you love to wear clothes that makes you stand out. Maybe you're queer. Maybe you're just somebody that doesn't fit in. But because of your relationship with what other people receive as a result of fitting in, you're always projecting this negative outlook onto others because you're assuming that you're gonna have to protect yourself from them and what they're seeing in you. Which I think that's a pretty fair assumption, at least starting off the bat. I do feel like whatever you're projecting onto people was caused as a result of maybe when you were younger, feeling insecure. You know, maybe you got bullied in middle school or high school, or maybe there's something about the fact that, you know, yeah, I have a different colored hair and people come up and still insult me in the grocery market and tell me that I'm not, you know, gonna survive, or I'm, you know, one of those blue-haired liberal people that do things. You know what I mean? It's like, it's just that energy of like, you're in a place or a mindset that's causing you to bully yourself on top of what other people are throwing at you. And really, there's a lot of other people out there that are pretty normal that just don't give a shit. You know what I mean? Like, I do feel like you're a little too harsh on yourself simply because of the judgment you've received from certain types of people that have a bullying energy. And most other people just ignore it because they don't have to deal with it. It's not necessarily that they're like judging you off the bat. I mean, sometimes, but they're also kind of like, sometimes they just go, hey, that's neat. They're just really indifferent because they don't like all their needs are getting met, so they don't really notice the effect it has on you. And some people really do quietly support you. They just don't really know how or what it is that you're scared of. Yeah, I do feel like you're very unseen, group number one. So, okay, so let's get into the cards. I feel you even though we are apart. We need to let each other go. I'm afraid to contact you. And I knew exactly what I was doing. Yeah, so for some of you guys, like maybe there was a situation where you wouldn't let go of a person from your past because you thought that this was going to be either your forever person or this was someone that you thought you needed to be like or be liked by this person. Okay? So like for example, maybe you are a very attractive person and you thought you were supposed to be around other people that were like you, and then you got into those crowds and you were like, I don't like these people at all. You know, or like maybe you finally let go of your insecurities. And so now maybe you're getting out there and saying, trying new things. You're slowly starting to realize that what you were projecting on before really wasn't accurate to the story that you were telling yourself. I knew exactly what I was doing. I think you guys need to have a little bit more confidence on the fact that you do know what you're doing. You do know what's up. And I think a piece of your subconscious was like blocking you from seeing the harm that you've been doing to yourself and others by not being the person that you are. You know what I mean? It's almost like maybe, for example, you were made fun of for liking anime, for example, or something that, you know, the nerdy kids like. So then when you had that judgment inside of you, maybe you liked it in secret, but because you told yourself that, oh, well, I can only like it in my spare time, or I can only like it around certain types of people. But if these other people knew, then, oh no, I just can't talk about it. Like, you were also participating in the bullying of that energy, even though it's within yourself, right? And I know you're like, oh my gosh, I'm not a bully. And it's like, yeah, you kind of are bullying yourself, you know, by agreeing with those people and staying in that energy, because you think that by you, like, I think the issue that's going on here subconsciously, guys, is you think that the problem is the action of what you're doing, like enjoying anime. When really the problem is someone that is crapping on someone else's joy and what they need in order to feel safe and included. You know what I mean? And so that's where that disconnect needs to come from, is removing the survivalism from an activity that's not meant to be survival. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, like, yeah, if someone's judging you on how you're cooking your food, you know what I mean? It's like, okay, you can be a bad cook, but like if you cook your chicken wrong, then that can kill you, right? That's a valid criticism, versus this is very much like this is an inherent piece of who I am and my own identity. Like, who cares? You know what I mean? Like, if someone else's identity was revolved around sports, a lot of people only like sports because they're just doing it to fit in. They're not creative. So the fact that other people are attaching that judgment onto you, first of all, that is a small group of the population, and a lot of it's because they're jealous because they can't do things like that. Literally all they can do is eat, sleep, and shit and make fun of other people because they have nothing else better to do. But then we need to let each other go. I feel like with what you're projecting onto other people is like, because of the social dynamics that are going on here. I don't know if you guys got either judged by like wealthy kids, or like there's like kind of this energy of like every time I look out there, I'm seeing people that are considered more adult-like than me because they have like a banking job, or they've got like, you know, a family with kids by your age, or there's just a lot of stuff you gotta let go and stop being so harsh on yourself, because you're made for something different. I'm hearing you're made for a higher purpose. And with the I feel you even though we are apart, I feel like there's like a community out there that really, really wants to connect with you. You just haven't gone on your journey yet to get closer to that community. With the I'm afraid to contact you, I feel like what you guys are also projecting out there is you don't know how to connect with that version of yourself that you had to shut away. So that old card with the girl that had her face covered or whatever, the version of you that you shunned, I think she's afraid, or he is afraid to connect with you in general. right? Because I think that your internal landscape has just been your internal landscape needs to be a judge-free zone in order for like creative energy to flow, or like this version of you that's just a lot more lighthearted and friendly, because it doesn't want to be in an environment where it's going to get bullied by itself, you know? And here's the thing, like I have compassion for you guys because you're not doing this because you're a jerk. You're doing this because this is how you were taught to survive. Your brain and body and mind are in survival mode. So yeah, if you show up to a 9 to 5, it can hurt your job if you dress in a certain kind of way and it gets you fired or gets someone to be aggressive towards you. There are social obstacles and limits. However, why are you forcing yourself to be in a 9 to 5 when you could be successful somewhere else? You know what I mean? It's like trying to get a cactus to try living in a tropical environment. It's like, can it survive? I mean, technically, but it's not at its best, because it's not where it's meant to be. And you're meant to be somewhere else. Yeah, we've got home 27. Okay, you guys are trying to project like making a place your home when it's not meant to be for you. And I do think that this is like a maladaptive coping mechanism, maybe from growing up. So maybe like you didn't fit in your household at home, or maybe your hometown wasn't really open-minded, or you didn't have a lot of opportunities there. And so what you've been trying to do is you're trying to create a home in a harsh landscape. And you did it, and you can do it, but that doesn't mean it's meant for you. You know what I mean? Like there are places out there that would better support you. So for example, maybe you're living in an unsafe area. Now it's easier said than done if you can't afford to move, but Spirit's kind of guiding you to say, hey, pay attention to your home life first, okay? If you want to start making any kind of changes or figuring out where you're not able to see the world clearly, like maybe you guys have a hard time making authentic friends or trying to figure out who actually is for you, it's because your home life's not clear. Or maybe there's stuff from your past home life that you still need to work through. So recommend talking to a therapist, but something about your home life or your past is not aligning with who you are authentically, and it's inhibiting you from being able to see the world around you accurately, and also blocking you from making choices that are beneficial to you. We've got the magical shapeshifter in reverse. So this guy has all of these different wheelhouses being juggled. And I feel like maybe, I don't know if you guys are ADHD, maybe you have multiple skill sets, but there's something about the fact that you don't fit into what everyone else says you need to be. And so they're like, oh, well, you're scatterbrained, or you don't know what's going on, or whatever. You don't know what you're doing. And I think like you just got to stop judging yourself, because your body and your mind do know what's happening. And it's really powerful to be able to have multiple skills. You know what I mean? Like you shouldn't be judging yourself or saying like, man, I can't complete a task because blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, I'm sorry. Like it's really hard to have a mindset that doesn't conventionally fit in with other people, and just because they can't comprehend it and can't do it doesn't mean you can't. And there are other people out there that are successful that have ADHD. It's just about wielding which thing is good for you right now, okay? And setting some limitations. Maybe you need medication if you really can't focus, but I don't think ADHD is what you need to be focusing on healing. I think it's just the self-judgment and getting a better, clear idea of like what is lighting you up in the moment, what's not. And again, not trying to fit into an environment that's not meant for you inherently. Like somebody else, this skill set would be so useful. For example, if you're a solo business owner, you got to do all this stuff, and if you're good at it, why not just do all of it yourself? Because you can, right? And you're like, oh, well, I don't have the money. Well, this is a good time to start learning about it. Start investing in yourself. Start building slowly. Start trying to understand what is it that really gives you energy, because right now, if half of your energy is going towards a thing, an idea, or a concept that is hurting you, it's slowing you down inherently, when it could be you just be having things working in your favor just like that once you let this version of you go. Release the shame and the judgment, guys. It's like, come on, you can do it. I want to see you fly. I'll support you as you soar. Yeah, I feel like you don't even know that there's plenty of people out there that want to support you just doing your thing. And you're like, I don't know if you guys, like, you want an army, or like you need at least one person cheering you on. And no offense, guys, the person that needs to be cheering you on first is you. All right? It's kind of a big misnomer and a lie that when you see an attractive, successful person, that they are only that way because they have people cheering them on. there's a lot of successful people that you have no idea the crap that they went through to get where they're at. And that's why you always, no matter where you're going in life, you got to be your first cheerleader. Okay? That's why in order to step into your power and your truth and figure out who the heck you actually are, to make better decisions and have a better life, you have to be this first person first. You have to start saying, I accept you no matter what. Then I want that little girl to soar again. I want that little boy to fly again. Okay, because you can. I know you can. You've got it deep inside of you. And just accessing it is the first step. It's the first part. You know exactly what you're doing out there, guys. The only difference now is you just need the confidence. And for you guys, you're like, well, I need the success in order to fly. And it's like, no, you don't sit there and look at birds and be like, dang, that bird, made $100 today because it got up to go fly and catch worms. No, it just does it because that's what it is. So that's what you got to start having that mindset of. I would only let you go so I could make sure you're safe. I love you more than pride. Yeah. I think you guys, while you do have a valid concern about safety, I do think that finding a better approach to keep yourself safe would be a better, more accurate way of keeping yourself safe. Because of the standpoint that I understand the financial limitations and the people you're around, I think, though, the mental blockages are inhibiting you from living life because you're telling yourself that, well, if I just dress a certain kind of way, then people aren't going to pick on me. And I'm like, no offense. I mean, yeah, you might get a little more judgment, but then you'll also get stronger because you're going to learn to not care. Or, for example, with like safety, learn the skills to determine who people are safe. Because if you can make yourself safe on the inside, if you meet somebody that doesn't make you feel safe, you're not going to want to be around them. And then suddenly it's going to open up another door. Oh, hey, I really don't like that person's behavior. With pride, again, maybe this could be, you want to come out of the closet. I don't really have good advice in terms of the best way to go about doing that because everyone's situation and journey is different. However, at the end of the day, I think having pride in yourself and who you are, regardless of what people see you as, like, who cares what other people see you as? I know that you have pride in your physical appearance and you want to be attractive, you want to be desired, but I really think that what makes you attractive, group number one, or what will cause you to connect with people better is to just get really, really clear about who you are, who you're not, and focus on that first. Because, like I said, if you are someone that's in the closet, go to places that are safe for those people. And if you can't, figure out what you can do to find the people in your area. Because even though maybe they're not out and proud, there's definitely people out there that are like you. You know what I mean? Like I said, at the end of the day, if people are just talking shit, that's very different than someone who's like physically harassing you or cutting you off from your finances. But again, if you are in a dangerous situation or a domestic violence situation, like obviously I'm a tarot reader, so please contact, the appropriate resources. But again, safety, I think, is going to be your biggest trigger to see if you're projecting or not. And if you're only thinking about your safety in a situation, ask yourself why, and then what steps you can do to make yourself be as safe as possible. Because again, we're never going to be 110% safe, but like this is to a point where like you're not living, all right, and you're not enjoying doing what you're doing. So put on your onesie for one night, sit at home alone, watch a TV show, and sit there and be like, okay, if there were no people in the world other than my BFFs, what would we be doing all day? And start doing that. That's a good step. You make me strong enough to feel weak. I'll cry for you. Yeah, so maybe you guys need to take a time out and just sit and cry. Like I said, like putting your onesie on and just really allowing your inner child to speak to you. So that way, when you're looking out at the world, it's through a fresher lens, because there's some of the stuff that you guys went through in the past that you haven't even processed yet, and it's still blocking you from your abundance and your successes. Okay, again, maybe there was a death in the family, or maybe there was a death of a relationship of some kind, but I feel like you just need to cry it out a little bit longer, but crying in the way that you have access to that deeper part of you, right? Because I think there's just some old stuff that's still holding you back that it shouldn't at your age. It's just that I feel like you just need the skills, or you weren't taught the skills how to let that stuff go in the past, which is totally normal. Because it sounds like you went through some things, especially when you don't fit in and you're looking at our current state of the world. It's kind of scary. So that's why, like, don't be ashamed of yourself for being upset, because you are different, and it is scary to be different because it's natural to be biologically feeling afraid. I don't deserve you, but I'll learn to love me so I can. Yeah, that's another thing too, guys, is since you are feeling very abandoned or rejected or just like separated from yourself, learn how to love yourself, okay? Because you deserve to have good connections with other people. You deserve to have a good life, and you deserve to be able to be in the spotlight for a little bit, to shine, to soar, and to do the things you want to do. With the love me, you gotta love you first, okay? Because when you're loving yourself first, then all the love that you receive from other people is extra. It's gravy. You know what I mean? But right now, I think that's where you gotta be, letting go of this old version of you, because it's no longer serving you. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for checking out my YouTube channel today. Please like, subscribe, comment down below if you like this. And if you'd like to learn more about some of the stuff that I'm talking about today, check out my website. I do have blog articles that can help you with working on some of that inner stuff. And yeah, consider booking me for a personal reading. Thank you guys so much for your time and energy, and I will see you all next time. Take care. Hello, everyone. You have chosen group number 2. And these are going to be your messages about what am I projecting onto this situation. Interestingly enough, the first thing I was visualizing in my mind for this pile was I saw my third eye. Okay, and so maybe you guys are very visual, or I'm seeing just like this very like, maybe on the inside you're clear, but everything on the outside feels very dark. So for example, maybe you guys take the time to meditate, or maybe you know how your inner body works, or your inner mind works, or at least you think you do to the best of your ability. But when it comes to like trying to figure out what other people think and feel, you're totally lost. Let me pull a card just to get a little bit better idea of a vibe check of what's going on with your pile, either about the situation or about other people. Again, since this is a reading about projecting, this does have a lot to do about your inner pile, or like inner work. And I think that's where you're having a hard time, is you're kind of like, I'm so aware of who I am, my emotions, and my inner world that I don't know what else I need to be working on. Which isn't true, but we'll see what the cards say. I know it's got complicated and hard. I still want you anyway. Well, there you go. I think the I still want you anyway, though, I do feel like maybe what you guys are learning to accept is because you don't always accurately understand the world outside of you, you have doubts in the sense of if other people like you or not. And immediately I was hearing like, I don't have doubts about other people like me. I know that they like me. But you hesitated, okay? And so I think that this pile is going to be discussing a bit about what's going on with other people and why maybe this like abandonment wound is coming up. With the complicated, I feel like either you guys don't understand that you are considered complicated to people outside of you. And I think that's where you're getting a little frustrated, because you're just so used to spending time in your inner world because it's safe, because people on the outside don't accurately understand you and your frequency. And so that's where I think there needs to be like a bridge that needs to happen between you and other people, because when you're projecting outwards, it's coming from a place of you only know how to talk to the inside world. And because you don't have that perspective of what other people think and feel, sometimes you are not accurate in your impressions of other people, even though you say so. And I do feel like this group, you guys are either really smart, or you're like, I know how to read people better than they know themselves. And actually, yeah, a certain demographic of people you're good at reading, But I think because you spend too much time either like online or inside of your own mind, it's kind of a circus out there. And I just feel like you're not participating in the circus, and so you don't actually have a clear understanding of what you're seeing and thinking and feeling. I do feel like maybe there's like a little bit of intellectualism or an intellectual superiority going on here, or maybe some kind of just like a energy of like, well, I need to be in control, so that's why I shy away from certain discussion topics, because in your mind, I'm feeling you're like, well, I already know how it's going to go, so I'm not going to engage with it. When really, that's really not a good mindset to have, guys. But anyways, though, we're going to go ahead and pull some more cards. Wow, I'm already hearing, like, arguing in my head. Y'all's energy, you feel a little combative, or, again, I just feel like you don't like being told when you are projecting on other people. Like, you're always, like, trying to be right, or there's some kind of, again, like, this superiority complex that comes out, that you're like, I'm a nice person, and other people would be like, not always. It's kind of like, I feel like maybe someone came out to you about something personal, and then you were immediately like, yeah, well, that occurs because blah, 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 because that's how I feel about it, and because this is how I feel, and I'm in charge, I don't need to know what your perspective is. So there's a lack of emotional, or like, it feels like emotional repression in this group. Specifically because either you don't want to, you don't want to know the answer or other people's answers because you're so used to like I wouldn't be surprised if this was like the group of kids that were gifted or have always been told that they're so smart. So it's like, I view it as like, you see this in the IT world a lot, where you're like your family's smartest person who can always fix the TV, fix the internet, fix all this stuff, right? So you're like the hotshot hero in your family because you're related to them. But then when you go out into the rest of the world and you get people that are professional IT folks, and they're like, hey, actually, bud, like I've worked in IT for 20 years and I know that if you do this, this is a faster, more safer method. And you guys immediately reject it because you're like, no, I know what I'm doing. And then you make mistakes at work. Or because you don't like to be challenged, you immediately reflect and turn inwards, and then you just try to do your own thing. So I wouldn't even be surprised if you guys try to like run your own business and you're not someone I would particularly want to work for, if I'm being perfectly honest, because I feel like you try to act like, oh, well, it's just easier to do things by myself, when really you're not actually approaching things in a way that is collaborative, and so you're limited in your potential of what you can do. All right, let's get into the cards. I couldn't let you get close to me. Yeah, you guys don't, like, what you're projecting onto the situation is you're not even aware that other people don't want to get close to you. I'm going to be straight with y'all because you can be very stubborn. There's a version of you that is protecting yourself. It's protecting your ego, and it's not letting people get close to you. So for example, in the IT guy scenario where you're the best person in the family, or you're the smartest person in the family, that makes you feel safe because it makes you feel useful. I don't know if this group maybe has a wound with productivity, for example. So basically, if I am not providing for the family, if I'm not constantly doing something to contribute, then otherwise I'm worthless. That is not a healthy approach. And for families that have not had this kind of wound and behavior, they don't like this. They're immediately like, oh, you're transactional. They think you're manipulative. Okay? And that's a red flag for you to be aware of on your part, because you're going to attract manipulative people. Because transactional, I mean, if you're working, that's one thing, but there's just this stubbornness about, like, you won't actually be honest about what's wrong. Because that shame of being wrong is so intense for you guys. Like, it's almost life or death. Again, this could be a wounded masculine energy. And even if you're a female presenting person, you may have had a father that had this kind of wound. Take what resonates. You were the best thing in my life. Yeah, I feel like you guys are a bit perfectionistic. Again, with this whole arguing energy, I feel like you guys really don't want to... You're like, well, I don't want you guys to assume anything. Or like, there's just like this deflection of when things are actually like right in your life. Again, like it's kind of like this, like I always need to be correct or I need to figure out things, when really it just sounds like it's like a mental like loop you've been caught in and you don't know how to step outside of it. Because with the "you were the best thing in my life," I feel like maybe you guys, like, if you say you had like a person in mind that you wanted to be like the love of your life, or like you had a best friend, or you have a kid, or something in your life is like really important to you, but like you have to create it yourself so you can have control over it instead of just allowing it to just be. You know what I mean? It's like going to a art museum and wanting to steal all the art for yourself when a museum's supposed to be enjoyed by everybody. And it's because you want to possess it because you're like, well, I'm protecting it by having it in my possession. Or it's better because I own it. And it just feels like a very like rigid like control that's not based in something that's healthy for you and for other people. And that's why I think like you don't really have access to social circles of people that can give you even better things in life. That's why I think you kind of get stuck with BS. And because you're in this grief cycle over like what is the best thing, like you always want to be recreating that one thing. Again, maybe you guys have autism or maybe there's some kind of a mental health thing, but I do think that by you reinforcing this pattern, it's causing you to project a reality outwards to other people. And it's keeping you like within. And I don't think you guys are aware that this is a child part, or this is like a childhood wound or energy that's allowing you to stay childish on the inside because you don't want to be challenged on the outside. Which I get it. You know what I mean? You were definitely hurt by somebody. Again, I'm also seeing like maybe a strict father figure, or maybe somebody who let you down. And so it's just a lot easier to just be inside because you're like, well, this is how I regulate, or this is how I whatever, blah, blah, blah. And I want you to understand that, like, first you have to accept that you're a human person, not a robot and machine. And just because other people have these social and societal pressures on you doesn't mean they're okay societal pressures. I think that's another thing too, is like what you're not accurate about is like I definitely could see myself arguing with you guys about like you saying, well, this is biology. This is how biology works. When you don't have a degree in biology, you don't know anything about that. You know what I mean? And I think the fact that because you don't have, like, you automatically put people into categories of smart, okay, dumb, and then like it's just very compartmentalized, and you don't have the awareness to realize that that compartmentalization is, one, a trauma response, two, it's how you already just argued with me that's not a trauma response. And I'm like, just because there's a lot of people that are traumatized similar to you does not mean it's not a trauma response, especially because of when you are repeating these patterns in your brain over and over again, it reinforces that cycle. Yeah, again, I think like a lot of you guys, like, you just don't want to listen to other people and their opinions. And so with like the best, it's like you just have an obsession with being better than everybody else. And yeah, we can agree to disagree, but I don't think your version of better is actually better when you have to push away other people that are different from you. I want to be more than friends. Yeah, some of you guys, you don't... Oh gosh, this is going to hurt somebody's feelings, but I think you guys believe you're more desirable to other people than you actually are. Now, again, when we're in this superiority complex mindset thing, like, are you a good partner? Probably. I can tell that you would be very warm towards people. I feel like maybe you're creative, or I feel like there's something about you that you would support other people. But like, one, I think when people get to know you, you have a tendency to turn them off from either the way you talk about things or the way you show up for them. And with the I want to be more than friends, I don't know if you guys get rejected more oftentimes than not, because I don't think you're aware that people are rejecting you. Because people with a higher level of social skills than you walk away when you say certain things. Or they're immediately like, and I can't share that opinion with you. I know exactly the type of person that this is, because I've had to do it, where literally I'm like, and there's no point in me continuing the conversation. And you're thinking, I won. When it's like, well, you're just not connecting to that version of yourself, and you're not connecting the dots. And I don't want to sit here and open myself up and share anything, which doesn't mean that you're better at being social. You're just not aware of that. Again, because either a toxic upbringing or, again, there's just a gremlin piece of you that is blocking you from connecting to yourself or to this version of yourself. You and I were too young. Yeah, I feel like you guys were also abandoned in childhood, so maybe you have a distrust of other people, and you have to, like, for you guys to listen to anybody, you have to prove that you're smarter than you. When, yeah, like some of you guys, I'm already thinking of a conversation I had with someone I know where this person was trying to talk about things that I learned about years ago on my own. And so it's like having someone explaining my specialization to me to make, but being like, but you guys have the energy of like, well, because it's me and because I'm special, it's better if you hear it from me, or you need to hear it from me. When it's like, no. You know what I mean? Like, so for example, my background is in data analytics, and having someone at work explaining certain types of coding and things to me when I literally said that that's what I used to do, it's just turning me off. And as a professional, for example, where I'm not going to listen to you when it's not necessarily what you're saying is wrong. It's the energy behind it of being like, you're not letting me talk. You just kind of are wanting to have an echo chamber of people agreeing with you. And definitely, I feel like echo chamber is an appropriate word for what you're doing, is because that's why you stay inside of yourself, is because you don't want to face the rejection. And so, of course, you can shadow box yourself because it's yourself, but you don't gain anything by not being exposed to the outside world. Yeah, some of you guys need to go outside and kind of get a life. I wish you love and happiness. Yeah, and I think, like, what you're also projecting out there that's blocking you from connecting to others is, I think, like, you guys genuinely believe that, like, so for example, like, you do wish people love and happiness. Like, I definitely think, like, where the problem is coming in with the social cues and all this stuff is the fact that, like, because you are a loving person on the inside and, like, you are trying to bring happiness, you're, like, the piece that you're missing, group 2, is like other people aren't receiving that energy from you, which means it's not working. Like, I think, like, what I'm feeling inside of my body as I'm channeling you guys to try to explain what's happening is, like, in your body, you are experiencing love and happiness as a result of the connection with the other person. But that is not going and being reciprocated the full way. And so you think by you just giving your love out to other people and happiness to other people that they're receiving it. But what you're not picking up on is if that other person is not showing it. And so then you just kind of, like, you want to remain in this blissful state of just spewing that energy out there everywhere on other people, and then not take accountability when someone's like, actually, like, telling me to cheer up when my mom just died does not make me feel better. Right? And then actually you are being the dick in the situation, but because instead of sitting there and because you're not actually connected with that person, you're thinking you're doing the right thing. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's kind of like this gradual, like, this energy of, like, you need to understand that no amount of you trying to justify your behavior doesn't mean it doesn't hurt somebody else, because that's another person. And that's where, again, it's a childhood wound, because it's a barrier from somewhere in your development that you were not able to connect with other people. Again, I do see it. It's got to be some kind of a father wound going on here of needing to always project out a certain energy for other people that you believe is serving other people, when really it's serving yourself. Okay? And this definitely feels like the energy of, like this is kind of the energy of, well, I want to go out there and get married because I want to have a wife. That is not the same as, hey, I want to go out there and get married to Sarah. I want to go out there and get married to John. You know what I mean? Like, you want a wife. So you don't really care who fits that mold. And that's what all the women are complaining about right now, is it's kind of like, yeah, you want a projection that is just an extension of yourself. because you don't want to branch out. When with the you and I were too young, like maybe you messed up when you were younger, so you never got to grow beyond a certain mental pathway. I don't know. I feel like you guys are getting offended, but it's like, it's true. Okay? Y'all are sitting here still sticking around. It's my tarot reading, so I'm just telling you what you are projecting. I am helping you now. Yeah. I feel like, one, I want you to understand that I am trying to help you and assist you. I'm not sitting here trying to insult you in any way. But with the I am helping you now, I think you guys, again, it feels very short-sighted or nearsighted, where it's like, I am helping you, right? You don't ever receive the help, which isn't accurate. You know what I mean? Again, that's why I think like with this abandonment or self-abandonment, it's almost like you are not allowed to receive help from anybody else. And I'm not talking about help like with like lifting furniture. I'm talking about emotional help. Like, you always have to be the protector or the provider, or else what happens? You turn into a little kid and then all the bad thing happens, right? Because nobody else is going to protect you. Huh? That's where that energy and that wound is coming from. Is because if you can't see yourself in a vulnerable state, which every human being experiences, that's what this energy is protecting you from. Is because it's like, what happens if you're dumb? What happens if you're soft? What happens if you're not this, what your dad wanted you to be? Was your dad going to beat you up? Were you going to be out on the street? What was the thing? What's going to happen to you now? Because now I definitely see you guys as the adults of using either a child, a relative, a social cause, or whatever, saying, I'm helping, I gotta be a helper because otherwise no one wants me. That's still being a child. And that's telling me your inner child has a wound. Maybe you guys drink to avoid this conversation with you. But like, you need to stop treating yourself like you're bringing other people in to help, like you need to be helping this version of you that's blocked in your subconscious. That's why this is such a hard reading. So I appreciate you guys humoring me this far, because this is something that is deep in your subconscious. And you were too young to be doing the shit that you were supposed to do. And that's where I don't think you guys realize is that grown adults, like a grown-ass man, threatening a child at any stage in their life, that is really low trash behavior. Okay? Like, anybody doing that and then saying it's discipline, like, you guys were abused. I'm sorry. And because, like, normal, healthy adults don't react this way to receiving help. Okay? I'm just saying that right now. Like, every human being, in order to grow, you have to be vulnerable in order to be exposed to new information, to then receive it and transmute it. You guys are not transmuting. Not because you can't, but because you choose not to, because you think that this piece of you in your subconscious is warning you that something is going to keep you not safe, that you're going to die, that you're whatever. And if you don't believe me, look at the trauma response of if you sat there and were helpless right now. If you really sat with that helpless energy. I wasn't thinking. Yeah. You guys speak without thinking. And when you think you're thinking when really it's not fully developed. You're not in control of your thoughts as much as you think. And that's where the whole, like, you're like, oh, well, maybe I'm channeling or maybe I'm whatever. And it's like, you're not clear in your ability to self-regulate. And you're not aware of this because people don't tell you. Again, maybe they're using you for money. Maybe they have their own blockages. Because I definitely feel like you guys get into echo chambers of people with the same kind of trauma as you. Because everyone else goes, okay, I heard the way you talked about this one thing, I'm going to leave. Right? Because you guys don't get exposed to this, because normal people don't. They are immediately like, oh, okay, you have some kind of a developmental trauma, I'm going to walk away. And nobody tells you that, but I'm going to tell you because that's what I'm here to help, is working through that. And since, again, I don't know you personally, we can talk about it in a safe environment with this video. Do you feel my touch? Yeah, I think, like, some of you guys, you're questioning whether you're projecting, if you're channeling somebody, if they care about you, if they feel you or sense you. With this group, it's kind of hard to say. I do feel like you guys want to connect with other people, but I don't think you're actually able to perceive as well as you think you are if other people are receiving your energy. Because it has nothing to do with you. And I think that's where, because you're so used to being in this inner monologue or this inner story, that, like, you think that the reason why someone's not reaching out to you is because they don't feel you. It is actually the opposite. Okay? This may blow your mind, but you're so desperate for other people to feel you, you think other people have the same problem as you, when they don't. It's kind of like whenever you walk into a room and you have hearing loss, like, think of like a grandma, where grandma can't hear, so grandma's talking very loudly. And everyone's like, oh my gosh, you know, but you put up with grandma because grandma's nearly deaf. That's what you sound like, walking in a room with your energy and with some of this behavior that you're doing. That is the projection, is you think other people have the same disability as you, have the same, like you have to, because you've had to fight to survive your whole life, you don't have the nuances of being small and having self-control, okay? And so that's why with the do you feel my touch, you're constantly, like, walking around blind to see if people actually care about you or not. And no one's giving you that feedback, and that's very frustrating, and I'm sorry, because I totally relate to that. However, you don't need to be, like, starting families with people, or you don't need to be, like, chasing these certain types of personalities or situations because you're not aware of something. I hope you guys go to therapy, because I think a therapist would be a much better choice for figuring this stuff out, but I hope this at least gives you some thinking points. I don't know why. Yeah, I feel like you guys, what you're projecting onto other people is that they don't know themselves as much as you know them, when really you don't know why other people do things. Because they're not like you. And you're like, well, it's because I'm smart. And that's only half accurate. Because salespeople are smart. People that can get you to buy things are smart. Manipulative narcissists are smart. It's just a different kind of smart. And you would have a much better combination in life if you stopped trying to figure out why people did things and just accepted and looked at what they did and respond accordingly. Because you're never fully going to understand why someone does something. So instead, just pay attention to the movements that they make, the actions. Maybe you guys, you don't know social cues that well, so I definitely see you as the type of person that, like, you're talking to a girl and you think that she has feelings for you when they don't. Like, you guys, I'm not gonna lie, I definitely get the vibe that you're not very as charismatic as you believe. Because people don't, for especially like neurotypical people, like, it's kind of considered rude. You know what I mean? To say, hey, that really wasn't that sexy or attractive. And I think that's why you've been able to skirt around this long, not really understanding what behaviors of yours are not that great, because people either comment on it or they just move forward. They're like, whatever, you know, because they have that ability to process things. And it's also partially how their brain's wired too. I realize how much I hurt you. Yeah, I feel like you guys can process when somebody has hurt you, but I also get the vibe that you're like, well, they hurt themselves by doing XYZ. And what I don't think you understand is a lot of people don't often know why they do what they do. They don't self-reflect like you because they have emotional thought patterns and connections with other people. And that's where you're different, because you've been forced to rely on yourself and create these mental barriers. So the realizations that you have, while you are more accurate in assessing yourself, you're not accurate in terms of your connections with other people. And that's why with other people, you've been viewing them as dumb or insecure, when really they have much more awareness of what's happening in your situation than you do. And I think you just don't get to the part where you know how to recognize that you hurt them in the ways that they understand that they were hurt. If that makes sense. I have a feeling you guys said it doesn't make sense. So basically, here's a good one with feminism, right? It's like when a feminist is trying to talk to a guy about why women are always constantly thinking about safety, right? A man may understand to a certain degree what that argument's like, but until you've actually witnessed women that go through certain things, I definitely see you guys as the type of person that you would not be invited into certain scenarios because you would not be aware of who the rapist is in the room, because that person's very good at manipulating. And you would more than likely probably side with the rapist and not understand that their threats are subtle, and or like what your behavior is doing could inadvertently harm a woman. So that's why women have to have an elevated version of understanding to protect themselves. And you're like, elevated understanding? I was like, yeah, because you're not even aware of it. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, there's just so many layers to this stuff, and yeah, it's like sometimes I feel like people would laugh behind your back because they don't realize that you didn't know that they were insulting you. True manifesting is about receiving what is the highest good for all. Yeah, again, what you're projecting is that what's best for you is best for everybody in the room. And I can definitely tell you, for example, if you have more financial accessibility, you're a white person or whatever, this group is just not aware that what is best for you does not apply to everybody. And it's kind of a shame because, like, you're sitting there like, oh yeah, this is the highest good for everybody, when it's like, no, this is the highest good for you and your group of people. Or the highest good, like, there's just something that you're just not very accurate about the ways that you make decisions that impact other people. Or you don't ask for their opinion. You're just like, oh, I just assume this is going to be good for them. Like, I definitely see you guys, like, say you were buying, like, a gift for somebody. It's like, oh yeah, say you were buying a gift for a random woman, and you'd be like, yeah, I'm going to buy her nail polish, because all women like nail polish. And it's kind of like, the brand you buy has, like, a certain kind of toxin in it that she can't wear it. And then you're like, well, she never wears my nail polish that I bought her, so clearly she doesn't like me. And it's like, there could be any number of reasons about that, and they have nothing to do with you, you know? So, like, you need to, like, stop, like, asserting yourself in other people's lives. You know, I don't think you do it to be harmful, but it ends up coming across as kind of rude or just shallow, unintendedly. I accept the good things come easy. I'm a super attractor. Yeah. Yeah, with that whole me talking about really needing to work in your relationships, like, you wouldn't have to fight that hard to have people to like you. It's kind of like that person that when you're all hanging out with someone, they're a tryhard. That's kind of how it comes across to y'all. But you're not aware of it. So just don't try so hard. Just sit and relax and have a good time. Just like, you have to have in your head the subtle, just understanding that, like, okay, I feel safe around people. That people will accept me. And I don't think that's wired in your head. Because you feel like you need to step out and be something else in order to do it for other people. And that turns people off or away. As soon as I choose to see the light in the dark corners, I redirect my power towards what I want. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think sometimes you guys are focused on the negative a little bit too much, or it's kind of like you guys just need to learn to read the room when this little dark gremlin in your head comes out, because it's kind of like, I definitely see you guys being like, say for example, you are talking to a trauma survivor of something that you did not experience personally, and I don't know, I just feel like you could offend some people, because like I said, you have this like lack of understanding of like for example, like if someone was raped or something horrible happened and you start talking about it casually to a person that went through that, like they're not going to feel safe around you. I'm sorry, like that's where like this whole savior complex is kind of frustrating to me, because like you guys project that you're a safe person when you're not. for this kind of person, you know? And it's okay that you're not a safe place for everybody, but like, don't be going out there like, I don't know, I get like that cringy energy of like, sometimes I've had this in the spiritual community where guys are like, because they deal with traumatized women, they just assume that a woman wants a comforting masculine frequency, when to me it's very artificial, and it's not like true divine masculine frequency. And then they get all like triggered and butthurt when you say no to them. And that's like the best way to work with this inner gremlin, is how does this gremlin react when you tell it no? And ask it why it reacts that way. And 9 times out of 10, this gremlin of yours it's just because it's not getting its way. And so that's where you got to be gentle with it and work with it. But like, why is it so stubborn? You got to ask it these questions to find out. But shedding light on it is going to help tremendously, okay? Because like I said, like, you're not inherently a bad person. It's just that this piece of you is trying to protect you from something you don't want to face. We've got paradise, happiness, expansion, joy. Yeah, I think like because maybe you also have a better slot in life than other people. Like, I definitely see you as someone that like I would not listen to you talking about experiences with poverty, because it's kind of like right off the bat, like if you've never struggled with homelessness, if you've never struggled with different things, I definitely right off the bat don't want to listen to some of your advice, because it's not going to apply to someone like me. Or like you're a straight person giving dating advice to a queer person when you're not worried about the same things. Like, you are living in probably a better lifestyle and situation than most people around you. And so it sounds kind of tone deaf when you talk about stuff. And that's what you're projecting, is you think other people have that they can just pull themselves up by their bootstraps, when it's like, no. Like, if a disabled person loses access to healthcare or a government assistance thing, they're screwed. People die all the time and they don't talk about it because it's depressing. And you're the kind of person that likes to loudly proclaim that, well, if more people just worked hard, it's like, no. Like, you don't have awareness to that stuff at all, and no one wants to share it with you because, again, you're just gonna slap them in the face with more bullshit, and they already have 50 other people that are wealthier than them, reminding them all the dang time that they're worthless. Because that's what you're kind of showing to these people. Wow, guys. I'm on a roll. All right, Dragonfly, be lighthearted, finding out, yeah, be lighthearted with other people. Okay, try to find more joy in your life, because I think like part of this gremlin is just so trauma-based, and you're like, it's not trauma-based, it's my personality. You'd be very surprised. I'm just saying. Try being lighthearted in a different way. Because again, I think you are not realizing that your version of happiness is what is socially acceptable to a certain type of people. If you got out of your social circles where that stuff goes out the window, you would not be as happy as you think you are. And I'm just saying, that's why you're hiding. You don't like being challenged. Coffin, ending brings new beginnings, growth. Yeah, you guys don't like change. Okay? Because again, you're sitting in a little paradise, and you're like, it's not paradise, Christian. I'm like, it is to a lot of people. And with this coffin, I think you need to start learning that the age where you were getting away with this is going to be coming to an end soon. It's closing a cycle. And you're not going to like the realizations of what's been going on when you actually have to start putting in effort into things that other people have been putting into effort to make this little paradise thing the whole time. Like, you guys were not aware of the censorship. You were not aware of people that actually didn't like you and were using you. And I think you thought you knew, but you really didn't know. And I think now is the time that you should be bringing yourself back into not being trapped inside of your body and your mind anymore. Because what's not serving you is staying behind from everyone else. You're not the apex predator, man. I'm sorry. I don't know what's going on, but like I said, what you think is better for you is limiting you in so many ways, especially in your relationships. The Grim Reaper, the relationship is over. No second chances. Grow and transform your life. Yeah. For some of you guys, like that best person in your life or whatever, your whole world what you saw was not accurate to their reality. Like, I definitely see this group being like, I did so many things for them, and it was such a great relationship, and like, I'm sitting here thinking about like looking at the other person's perspective. I'm just like shaking my head. And you're like sitting there shaking your fist and being like, if it weren't for such and such things in the world, maybe this would be that way. And it's like, nope. They didn't want to come towards you with everything that they had shared. You weren't accepting their trauma where they were at. You were not allowing conversation, honest conversation, to go back and forth between the two of you. Because you wanted to be right. You wanted to be objective and a truth-based person. That's your truth. That has nothing to do with that other person. And you're not allowing that back and forth of honesty. Because if you're sitting there thinking everyone's lying to you, it's because you're lying to you. Just as much as some of these other people. Yeah, and that hostility that you think is coming from other people, that's coming from you. Calls coming from inside the house. The Sword and Rose. Clarity, truth, revelation, solidarity. Yeah. You know what I mean? Learn when to fight and when to relax. And I think, like, again, I'm just seeing this ego of, like, you, like, this version of you that's protecting your subconscious needs you to be the hero. Needs you to be tougher and better than everybody else to protect yourself. But what is it protecting? Because to me, this feels like a childhood wound fantasy. That I've got to be bigger and stronger to keep myself safe. I've got to be smarter. I've got to be good. You know, that's another thing too. You guys are so focused on doing the right thing and being good when you're trapped in your own grave. You have no idea what being good means, especially when you've been sitting on a pedestal the whole time. That was given to you guys. Y'all don't, you guys don't understand that people work around you. They hide. They do a lot of things while you get to sit on your shiny pedestal. People allow you to be on that pedestal because it protects what they don't want to face. So when people stop participating, you're going to see a shift around the people around you. And you're not going to like it. Photograph, looking at your photos, missing you, nostalgia, making new memories. Another thing you're projecting is, as I said, about like with a relationship with a person. This could be romantic. It could be family. I feel like the reason why, for example, like maybe you like kids. It's because those kids aren't self-aware. They haven't developed to challenge you yet. The looking at the photos, you are seeing an image. People smile for photos because you have to, right? That's why you got to get off of social media a little bit. Stop trying to like piece together someone's life based off of what you're seeing on a photo and talk to them. Have a conversation. Stop lying to yourself because of what you are just looking at, you know? Because like make new memories. I think that is going to be very important for you guys as you learn to accept yourself and find inner balance. Making new memories is what's going to reteach your body and your brain of what is exciting to you again. Because I think, again, you're used to that tangible, like, if I see an image of people smiling, that means they're smiling. But you don't know what's going on underneath. And because no one's taught you the social context. Yeah, like, you guys are the ones that actually believe, maybe, that, like, when women wear makeup and stuff, that they're doing it because they love makeup. You know what I mean? Like, you guys are the ones that, like, I would not be surprised if, like, you found out about, like, the sex work industry and found out that women don't always like that are in that field. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of just, like, this whole very, like, you really don't get people that aren't like you. And that's why you get taken advantage of a lot. Anyway, sorry, this reading was a bit long, but I just needed to get this out. Twin flames, yin yang, zen balance. Oh my god, stop using spiritual titles. I think that you guys, like, this entitled energy you have towards this other person comes from the standpoint that you gave, like, because you have intense feelings towards another person. Even if the feelings are mutual, you are not entitled to that other person. You are entitled to yourself. And what you're not acknowledging, because the whole point of a twin flame relationship is spiritual awareness of yourself. It's not about the relationship with the other person. You're like, well, it is, and like, no. We're talking about you right now. This is about what you're projecting. And what you're projecting is you think that this was a balanced relationship. When there is such a huge power imbalance. Like, this is like me sitting there, like, a healthy person going up to a crack addict and asking them why they don't have a job. You know what I mean? It's like, that's so stupid. But, like, because you don't understand that as part of being a couple, you're in a relationship together. Not one person is right in dictating everything. You complement each other. And so it's like the stubbornness going on between the two of you comes from entitlement and lack of empathy. Sure, you understand, like as long as you're the savior, that means you don't have to actually connect with them, because that's still in your lower brain. That's still in your lower chakras. You're not actually emotionally engaging with them. And that's where, to wrap up this reading, that's where you don't know why what's going on, is because you don't understand you're in fight or flight mode. Constantly. That's why none of this stuff is processing to you, because you are still in fight or flight, or freeze. Until you get out of that headspace, you're not going to have mature adult relationships with people. I don't give a crap how old you are. I don't give a crap what your thing, whatever. Like, y'all enjoy being in a survivalist mindset because, one, it makes you feel powerful. Two, it's an addiction because it actually triggers your fight or flight, and, you know, you can get addicted to that adrenaline, even if it's subtle. And you're like, I'm not addicted to adrenaline. You are if you are always talking to traumatized people. Okay? If everyone in your life is always traumatized, that means you don't have good boundaries yet. You haven't broken out of the cycle yet. That's why you don't understand. Why do all these people, oh, it's because I'm an empath, it's because I'm a safe place. Yeah, because you have the same reflection. When you heal, you're not going to want to be around that shit. Get your mind out of the photographs. Take new memories. And set your sights on a reality that is healthier for you. Okay? Don't allow social media and the illusions of other people to influence who you are. Get out of your own grave, guys. It's over. Okay? Your path forward involves you coming out of your own grave and growing up. And facing what made you put yourself in the coffin in the first place. Anyways, I appreciate you guys so much. You guys are real troopers for sticking through this reading, because that was hard. But I appreciate you and love the support that you're showing me regardless. Please like, subscribe, and comment if this resonated with you. And if you'd like to book a personal private session, links are in the description down below. And I've got resources on my website with my blog, if you want to read about any kind of topics. It's a little low right now in terms of content, but we're slowly adding stuff on there, so feel free to check that out. Anyways, thank you guys so much, and see you around. Take care. Hello, everyone. You have chosen group number 3 with the Las Vegas shot glass. And this is going to be your messages on what am I projecting onto other people. Oh my god. Like, okay, so literally the moment I stopped the last pile's reading, and, like, I didn't even need to sit and channel you guys, because I was like, this person does not stop talking. Like, I was like, you're not allowing other people to talk. Okay? And it is so frustrating because I'm like, it's just in my head. Like, I don't know if you guys struggle, like, maybe you guys have psychic abilities, or there's just a lot going in your mind all the time, that you're not aware, that you're overwhelmed. It's just literally like, I just feel like I have to keep talking in order to, like, just stay out of my head. You know what I mean? So maybe you guys struggle with anxiety. Again, maybe you guys say things that are upsetting to other people, and maybe that's why you're reaching out via watching this reading. But this projecting energy is very much like, it's like a version of you that doesn't know how to stay inside of its in your brain or inside your body, so it just needs to go somewhere. I totally relate to this energy, by the way. So I have diagnosed PTSD, and I can tell you when I developed PTSD, there was a good like 2 or 3 years where I was not able to self-regulate at all. And it was just anything that came to my mind, I had to say and speak immediately. So I do hope that you guys talk to a therapist to help you with regulating yourself, because I do get the vibe that you're not doing this because you're like inherently annoying or because you don't like care about other people. I do genuinely believe that this is a trauma response. And again, finding balance between your masculine and feminine energies, I'm definitely feeling like, you know, that would help you right off the bat, because I'm seeing just like with these two people here, maybe you guys are really spiritual or really in touch spiritually, but like you think that's like something you need to achieve instead of just existing as it, you know? I don't know. I feel like you idealize others as well. Maybe you idealize me. But there's just something that's going on here that just doesn't feel quite accurate. All right, let's get into the cards. I am becoming a better person. Yeah, so I feel like you guys, you're into self-improvement or process improvement, right? I think what maybe you're trying to work on is how your brain processes in general. So maybe you're learning about psychology. Maybe you are trying to make determinations about how you come across to others, which good for you on your self-awareness journey. But I think you kind of take it to the nth degree because of that desire to be this idealistic person, you know, or you feel like there's an ideal out there like that you're supposed to be like comparing yourself to. And really, if you're being perfectly honest here, again, I mean, I'm not like a mental health professional, but what I can tell you is there is not like one definition or definite way to be a human being. And I feel like in you guys' case, you're a human doing. And so you got to focus on like the being side of things to get these voices to kind of shut up. Because if you're constantly like moving around and trying to make things better, like that's anxiety. The problem is not you projecting, it's you being stuck in survival mode or self-hate. I wonder if you were happy without me. Oh, I get this vibe that you guys like, I feel like you guys, oh my gosh, I want to cry. I feel like you guys really hurt yourself because you are trying to fix yourself to make more people love you, when that's not what's happening. Okay? I feel like you guys really struggle with accepting yourself authentically. With the happy without me, I feel like you guys think people would be happier without you. I think that's what you're projecting is like, first of all, that's not even remotely true. But I do feel like maybe because you struggle socially, it maybe feel that way. I think that part of the reason why you're having a hard time connecting to others is because you're projecting things outwards that are coming from wounds. All right, so right off the bat, I don't feel like you guys are very understanding of trauma or trauma-based healing. So I'm just going to pause right off the bat and say, hey, there's links in the description down below for professional resources if you're struggling with something. But I do highly recommend you guys talking to a therapist, because I think like what's going on in your inner landscape is you're just having trauma and anxiety responses, and you didn't know what that was or what that feeling was in experience. So to kind of describe to you guys what a panic attack feels like or anxiety is not just like having difficulty breathing, okay? It's literally like hypervigilance, so basically always looking for threats. It's whenever you're interacting with people wanting to either fight, flight, or freeze. Again, with that idealization of what I'm supposed to be like, if anything that you're thinking about is related to safety, for example, but not like, oh, hey, I'm not gonna like run next to the pool because I'm gonna fall in. I'm not talking about that. Like, this is like me in my body. I can't exist in my body at all. So if I become a better person, then I'm gonna be liked by other people. When other people, like, while I understand you want to be liked by other people, self-regulating is what's going to help you have access to better people around you. Again, I feel like with you guys, you do have maybe a lack of resources. So that's why maybe social relationships are important or a little bit higher priority on your radar. Because again, if you have a good support system, then you're more likely to take care of yourself. And I think that's just what causes this looping cycle is like, well, if I'm anxious and people notice I'm anxious, then I'm not going to have friends. But I can't be anxious. And I'm like, oh shit, I messed this up. Oh shit. And like, I want you to understand that like self-regulated people are going to notice your anxiousness regardless of if you have it. And then you're like, oh, dang it, I can't just get rid of the anxiety. Like, yeah, I just relate to this group so much. I'm so sorry, though, but, like, before I get into your cards, I just want to say that, first of all, I love you guys. You guys are so strong getting through day to day with this level of hyperactivity in your brain. And I want you to understand that it's not your fault, okay? If you're not able to just self-regulate, or like maybe you've tried meditation and breathing exercises and it doesn't work. Okay, for myself, I needed therapy and medication. And not even medication for anxiety. I had to do other stuff, taking supplements and whatever. So what I'm saying though is this is not in your control. And that's why I really want you guys to have compassion for yourself, first and foremost. Because like, you guys are looking for a savior to help alleviate what you're going through. And I know it really, really sucks right now. Okay? And that's why I want you to understand that there's a certain amount of accepting that you don't have control of how your body reacts to what's happening around you. And that's okay. That's normal. That's being a human in a human body. Okay? And there's a lot of stuff going on around you that is scary. Okay? So like telling your anxiety that it just can't be there, that's not addressing the issue, right? And a lot of it is, again, lack of education and awareness about mental health and anxiety and things like that. So kudos to you guys for doing your work and research, because the more you learn about it, the easier it is to not like take it personally and to not take it out on yourself, because that just makes it worse. Okay, guys? Like hurting yourself to regulate yourself doesn't work. Okay, that's what's happening, is because you think that, oh, well, if I just say, oh, no, I shouldn't do this. Oh, no, I shouldn't do this. That's self-harm, because you don't know how to self-regulate, because nobody's teaching you how to, pause, take a breath, and listen to you. This could be a wound in childhood. Maybe you had parents that just emotionally neglected you, or like, they said, oh, just suck it up. You know what I mean? When you were having an anxiety PTSD response. You know what I mean? I definitely get the energy of like you're around people that like they don't react when something bad happened to you, or they just made fun of you, and so then you never actually learned how to overcome a problem or a challenge. So like quite literally, if this was your childhood, you were literally in survival of the fittest. And you just so happen to not, like, you guys just so happen to be a good person. You happen to have empathy. You happen to actually be very aware of how dangerous the situation is. Because to a child with an adult that is willing to put you in harm's way and laugh about it, or to do things and not care what happens to you, that is worth a survival trauma response. Okay? Because if you were in someone else's, or raised by another person's family, you would not be treated like that. They'd be like, what are you doing to that baby? No. Oh my God. I probably would be slapping some of y'all's parents. I'm just saying this right now, because it's like, oh no, then you have anxiety as an adult. Who would have thunk? You know what I mean? Okay, so we've got, instead of worrying about the future, I know all is well when I'm aligned in the moment. Yeah, you guys need to start, if anything, I'm going to tell you guys to start projecting a little bit that I do not have control over everything that's going to trigger me. I can only control my reactions to my body's reactions. Okay? Like, use that as your mantra. I only have control over my reactions to my body's reactions to what's going on around me. Okay? You don't have control of the future. Now, you can take steps to get you from point A to point B, but understanding that right now you are in the mental liminal headspace where you can't self-regulate. So it's just about taking one step in front of the other, okay? Holding your own hand through it, understanding that, okay, I'm having an anxiety response right now. What do I do? Okay, I'm going to put both feet on the ground. I'm going to rub my feet. I'm going to rub my legs. There's somatic exercises that you can do to help get you grounded. just take it one step at a time. Okay, because I definitely feel like right now you're just needing that reassurance that everything's going to be okay. And it will be okay. However, learning the skills to regulate yourself back to point A, right now you don't even have a point A. You don't even know what that looks like. So developing that and developing the skills to get connected to that is where the next thing you need to work on is. As soon as I choose to see the light in the dark corners, I redirect my power towards what I want. Yeah. So for example, maybe you're really anxious about your financial situation right now or the state of the world, and it's giving you like panic attacks because you know bad things are happening. This is one of those things where you have to remind yourself that it takes active effort to see the light in the darkness right now. Okay? This is something that it's a coping skill, that it's not people just projecting happiness into a situation. It's literally trying to take your feelings out of it and be like, okay, I mean, yeah, things are on fire, but you know what? I'm listening to the birds chirping right now. I have friends right now. I've got food in my kitchen cabinet. I have the ability to walk. Whatever bright things that you can put on your list right now, do it. All right. And it has to be a habit. You have to train your mind to do this because, like, when you're in this state of mind, it's going to be difficult. But the more you do it, the easier it's going to get over time. And then it will start helping you self-regulate again. Because again, technically anxiety and seeing darkness, I mean, like, yeah, darkness is everywhere. It's also not very accurate. However, your body needs to react to certain things to keep you safe. So just remind yourself, like, when you get anxious, it's like, okay, a version of me is trying to keep me safe right now. All right. And when you take that perspective, it's a lot easier to not attack it and to work with it, right? It's not, your body and your mind are not your enemy. Your frequency is not your enemy. It's just a matter of you're still learning the skill set of self-regulation because you haven't had anyone guide you through it yet. Therapists would be much better for this. True manifesting is about receiving what is for the highest good of all. Yeah, I feel like, you know, when you start taking care of your body, mind, and spirit, it's also going to help you with your relationships with other people. Okay? Because if you really want to find, like, your bestie, if you really want to go out there and start, like, again, I just feel like making friends is what your focus is on right now. I think, like, focusing on the highest good of everything is going to help you get through your social anxiety. So, for example, like, say you're feeling really anxious and you didn't want to go into work today, but you made it happen because you're like, well, you know what? I got to get in there because I got to make money. And you know what? I have a friend at work I want to go see. So then you go in there and you see that person and you make a joke and you got through the day. And even if you didn't go through the day, at least you got to see your coworker and they made you laugh about something. You know what I mean? And so it's like learning about paying attention to those small wins. When your brain, your body, mind, and spirit's overwhelmed, those small wins are what's going to sustain you over time until you can get access to the bigger wins. But you have to be proactive with it. And that's where everyone gets, like, tired and drained. And that's why, like, setting reminders on your phone, there's an app called Habitica. So if you're like an ADHD person, I use it. It's like a to-do task thing, but it's a video game. So you literally make your life and doing tasks into a video game. It's really fun. But you know what I mean? Like, just finding ways to include yourself and fun into your everyday life will help make things easier. Another thing, like, I did this. I got, like, a little fidget device that I use to help with my anxiety. You know? Literally just having this thing to constantly mess with, it brightens my day. And I realize I need it for my mental health to help keep me sane. Whatever you gotta do it. We've got strength in reverse. Yeah, I think, like, what you guys keep projecting is that you're saying you're not strong when really you're having a trauma response. You know what I mean? And I think you guys are strong because you've been having these trauma responses for a long ass time and you just didn't know what they were. So if anything, to me, you guys are tough as hell. You guys are tough as hell. Because I'm sorry, like, I don't consider, like, for example, like, maybe you don't have the best health issues, or maybe you're not, like, a conventionally attractive person, or, like, there's something about you guys that, like, I think you just really underestimate your strength because no one talks about it because it's really quiet and it's shiny and it, like, you just don't see it shine because you're like, well, everybody's doing it. It's like, it doesn't matter. Like, you're a human being in a human meat suit while your body and mind are going crazy all the time, and yet here you are taking care of yourself. You've got a place to stay, you've got people who care about you, and you're gonna find more people who care about you. Because especially if the one thing that anxiety or anxious people love is other anxious people that they can freak out together, and then they realize that, hey, it's actually not that bad. Because if you're afraid of snakes and I'm afraid of spiders, well, one of us or the other person can take care of it. You know? You know, just trying to find some humor in those sorts of things. Solitude. Yeah, I think like you're also projecting out there that you need to be away from people when you're anxious. Okay? And so everybody's different. So I don't want to give you a generalized statement. However, I do think you guys should prioritize finding ways of getting connected with people. Even if it's online, but like, I know you may have online friends, but there's a certain amount of healthy social interaction that you're going to need to have. So, again, maybe joining a therapy support group, or going to a concert, or going to the library. You know what I mean? Something that's quiet. Like, whatever causes your social anxiety, try to identify what your triggers are. And the only way you're going to build up tolerance to your social anxiety is learning to be okay with being uncomfortable. And again, there's a huge difference with everybody's different social anxiety, so don't push yourself. But I know for myself, with my social anxiety, when I came out of the closet and when I went through on my healing journey, I realized my social anxiety was not the social anxiety I thought it was. And you guys might be in the same boat. And depending on how your brain is wired, you know, regardless, you still need social interaction that's in person, you know, that helps you connect with others. Just finding out where those people are is what's going to be the tricky thing. And also just finding safe people. But that's why you should probably work with a professional. Or just, again, start with, you know, spiritual spaces are really nice, because if you go to a sound bath, guess what? Everyone's there to just relax and zen out, you know? That's a really great option. Just make sure you have boundaries and stuff. We've got heal the ouch. Yeah. Oh, I feel like you guys, like, oh my gosh, this is so corny. You guys are the type of people that you could literally be falling apart. You could be like, well, I'm gonna kill myself. And then you hear that so-and-so's in trouble. You just drop your shit. You just completely forget about what's going on around you. And then you go run over to help your friend. See, already you guys sound like amazing friends. I mean, that's not good because you're not taking care of yourself, but like, I literally just want to be like, what are you doing? What do you mean you were suicidal and you didn't tell me? You know what I mean? Like, it's one of those things where, like, it's okay to tell people you're struggling because, first of all, 9 times out of 10 people already probably know, but they might not know to the extent. You know, like, I think, like, if you guys are feeling alone right now, it would be perfectly reasonable to go ask someone to go to the movies with you. Or maybe go find, like, a social club or something like that. Find, like, a place where people gather. Hell, go to a church if you feel comfortable. Like, find some place where there's where you know nice people gather and say, hey, does someone just want to, like, come with me to the movie theater? Or could someone go grocery shopping with me? Like, it's okay. Like, you're gonna find somebody, and then you might meet some really nice, cute, sweet people. I don't know, there's something cute about you guys. I'm like, oh, yeah, but heal the ouch, guys. You know what I mean? Like, I think you're projecting this idea that, like, you're just supposed to get better without self-care, and it's like, no. Like, it takes work. Like, take a bubble bath. You know what I mean? If something's triggering about normal self-care, find something that works for you. You know? But, like, don't do it by yourself. Let someone take care of you, damn it. Like, I'm sorry, there are too many nice-ass people in the world for you to think that no one's gonna do it for you. I'm sorry. I'm watching paragraphs of people on Facebook and all these other places saying, like, where are all the nice people at? I don't know, go on Facebook and find them and then go hang out. Seriously, go or make friends with one of my, like, subscribers or whatever. Come to one of our events, like, shit. We've got slow and steady, yeah. Some of you guys, you just need to accept that modern day living is not for you, okay? It's not normal that everything's moving at this fast pace, especially if you've got a disability or if you have anxiety. Modern day living is too fast for you, and that's okay. Go slow. Find a job where you're literally barely doing anything. I wouldn't say necessarily low effort, but it's like quiet. Maybe you work by yourself. Just find things or ways about your life to set boundaries to say, nope, if I'm late for work, I'm late for work. I still need to make sure I take my medication. Set those boundaries within yourself, okay? 12 also seems significant. Maybe you were 12 years old when you had your first anxiety attack and nobody told you that's what it was. Okay? Maybe you peed yourself. Maybe, I don't know, like maybe something happened when you were like around like 12 or 13. But I think like reflecting back on those different ages, puberty might be important to you guys too, because it could have been like maybe your first time getting a crush on somebody. Whatever it is, like taking the time to go back and unwire yourself is going to help you figure out why you're so anxious and why you're struggling to connect with the rest of the world. Maybe you could relate to some of the other piles too, because again, I wouldn't be surprised if like a piece of you resonates with a different pile, but like all y'all got anxiety. You know what I mean? So that would totally make sense to me. So many things remind me of you. Yeah, you guys ruminate a lot, so I don't know, maybe you guys might watch one of my other videos about like what are the signs and synchronicities of this person? I think that's why spirituality is very enticing to you guys, because you think that when you're seeing messages about this person that it's from the universe. I think this is a trauma cycle, or this is your brain looping on this person as a way of making you feel safe. And I think you're projecting a spiritual meaning on it so that way you can feel important. Or I shouldn't say important, but like I think that you guys are very sweet and very spiritual and very like light and bright. And so like I just feel though that there's this energy of like you're not realizing that some of your habits are an anxiety response or a trauma response rather than a synchronicity thing. Maybe you guys have rituals of praying that are not based in spiritual, but they're really like, maybe it's like OCD, or maybe it's like, I could literally see you guys being like, I didn't pray for Archangel Michael's protection, so he's not going to look out for me if I don't ask enough. And it's like, no, that's not how that works. But it's okay to have fears and stuff. And, you know, I'm not criticizing your practice, but it's literally like, Archangel Michael's so powerful. You really think he's going to be mad at you because you didn't pray one time? Jeez, oh man, guys. Yeah, like have faith, right? Like you're really divinely loved and guided, okay? And understand that when you're in this anxious headspace, that's when they're protecting you the most, is when you don't have control. Okay? And I want you to take peace in that knowledge, okay? Is that just because you're anxious, that's when your angels are working, not when you're better, not when you're whatever. You know what I mean? Because you're being protected right now, and you won't even realize it. Okay? Like, I'm sitting here looking back on all the things I was doing in my past when I was in this mental headspace, and I was like, holy shit. I'm amazed worse things didn't happen. And that this is your reassurance and guidance that, yeah, you are being looked after, even if you can't see it. That's why it's okay to slow down and relax, because you need to slow down so that way you can reconnect and get yourself into your next state. I left you before you could leave me. Yeah, some of you guys, like, oh my gosh, I feel so bad. Because it's like, I feel like, you know, you are so sweet, but you get abandoned by people, or like, I think you're now at the point where you leave before other people can leave you, just because you're like, it just hurts so much, and you're just kind of like by yourself. And I feel like maybe sometimes you guys are like, the only friends you have are angels or spirits, because you don't know how to manage your mental health, and you're just like, leave me alone. Aw, I don't know. I feel like I do get a little bit of a mild suicidal energy from you guys, and I just want to say, like, please stay. I support you. I want you here. I totally understand and relate to a lot of this stuff, and I want you to know that you can get to a better place, you know? But one step at a time, you know? And it's like, I can't sit there and just say, well, like, enjoy the flowers and whatever, because, like, yeah, like, when you're in this space, it's hard. But I just want to send you at least a little sign or signal out there that it can get better. All right? It can. And it will get better if you want it to. Okay? If you don't want to give up. I'm so attracted to you. Yeah! I don't know. I think you guys feel like you want people to, like, you want someone that's going to come out of the blue and just give you all the love that you've been missing. Right? And I could tell you from my journey, because that's the best gauge I can provide, is that that really doesn't happen. Usually when it did, it was someone who actually wasn't that healthy. And maybe you guys have learned this, is you're just like, I see all these like love stories in the movies or on TV. Maybe you guys watch a lot of TV, and that's like your way of thinking that this is how the world works. That's not true at all. I'm going to tell you right now that usually when people are very attracted to you, they're scared. And the healthy ones try to do a more like have it like an even level job of talking to you, but really it's more so just like as adults, like everyone's like scared to tell each other the truth, or they don't know what they're doing, or they're nervous. Like, I'm sorry, like I've seen really attractive people fumble other attractive people because they're human beings. And so I just want to let you guys know that it's like a lot of what you're struggling with is normal, again, because you haven't had people guiding you through this stuff. Again, balance your masculine and your feminine. And like I'm so attracted to you. I don't know, like again, I feel like you guys are attracted to things in other people that you have in yourself that you're not aware of. And I feel like you're kind of hiding it from yourself. Like, I'm sorry, like, oh, you like that influencer's stuff? That creative stuff? Why don't you try that? And you're like, no, I can't do it like them. And it's like, it doesn't have to be like them. It's got to be from you to you. And I'm pretty sure that if you weren't struggling with anxiety all the time, you might be at that level. Or maybe you make something different. Like the whole point is not to compare yourself. It's about, like, don't let you set the limitations on yourself. Right? I don't know. I'm distinctly thinking of a friend of mine who she was so anxious all the time, but like she used to make beautiful like floral arrangements for people. And specifically she wanted to make them affordable for people. And like I could definitely see you guys like maybe making something for fun and giving it to the elderly. You know what I mean? Or homeless people. You know what I mean? Like there's so many things that like you could be very bright and shiny for other people in ways that you hadn't even thought of, And again, I don't agree in creating a savior complex, but like I do think that if you really feel like you're alone, maybe try helping people or asking how people are doing. Like you don't have to save the world, but like paying for somebody's meal or writing a smiley face on someone's like receipt after you buy something at a restaurant. Like, I don't know, do it. It doesn't have to be big, but I know like damn well like my day has been made when someone like leaves me a little note saying I'm attractive or like puts a smiley face on like a check or something. I don't know, like do things like that. It doesn't have to be big. And I think like when you start including that, life's gonna feel a little bit less scary, because you know what, if you're the only light in the room, then so be it. So be it. Who cares? Because that's what you're here for, because you're so bright and shiny. Oh, I want to give you guys a hug. Sending you a big like loving energetic hug, because I don't think you realize like people like you kept me going during my dark times. And you're like, huh, you don't even know me. And I'm like, I know this frequency. I know that, like, when I'd have really horrible days and be like, I hate humans and all this other stuff, I'd look over and see a person with this kind of frequency, and I'm just like, you're so cute! Why can't I be cute like you? And you're just like, huh? And I'm like, no, don't you even do that, you muffin. I don't know. I wish I had treated you better. Yeah, I wish other people had treated you better. But yeah, I think, like, you guys are like thinking people left you because you needed to treat them better and no, stop that shit right now. This has everything to do with the fact that if you gave yourself the love that you try to chase and give to other people, you're going to find other people that treat themselves well and do the same cute things. And then you're suddenly going to realize like, wow, actually I didn't need to be anxious. I'm just anxious around people that aren't like me or crappy people. Because that's another thing, too. I feel like with this group, like, you guys will not have nearly as much social anxiety when you're around nice people. Like, I hate saying it, but, like, yeah, you guys, like, are so scared of a crappy, aggressive person coming up and screwing up your day that, like, you don't live. and you're like afraid of death and all this other stuff, and it like puts the fear of God into you, and it's like, geez, guys, like I totally relate to this so bad, and that's why I want you to understand that you can get out of it. Okay, like there are people out there who care about you and miss you and want you as a part of their group. Okay, get involved, everybody. You don't have to do this alone. Okay, but again, the internet's not enough. The internet's a place to start, but being in person is what's really going to help you guys self-regulate. Also, get a pet or an animal, please, if you don't already have one. Give them a hug for me, okay? Anyways, y'all, thank you so much for spending your time and energy on watching this video. If you enjoy it, please like, subscribe, comment down below if you relate to it, and then also check out the links in the description below for resources on my website for professional services, as well as if you'd like to book me for a tarot reading. Anyways, wishing you guys the best of luck on your anxiety. I will see you all next time. Take care.